When we went into John's program, we didn't have any clue about webinars. We knew nothing. At the beginning, we thought it was just going to be a little extra side thing we would do. It ended up becoming our main source of revenue for our company.
You know, we made over a couple $100,000 last year just with this division as a result of doing this. If you can get this through your head, it will change every interaction you have for the rest of your business life.
Well, we'll get started then with the first thing, that before we get into your struggles and your story and kind of talking about you and your business, I'd love to know firstly, like straight off the bat, what is, because the name of the series is Big Wins, like what is that biggest win for you since you have started working this stuff out with AdClients?
We had a business model that had developed two divisions, and it came off of having a series of design companies. And so we had these two divisions, and we were doing fairly well with them. But when we realized the ability to drive business through a webinar to us to create a coaching division, that was the biggest wow for us. Literally, that was the biggest wow. You know, we made over a couple $100,000 last year just with this division as a result of doing this.
I mean,
amazing.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna throw the story in this direction. We had a large YouTube following, and we had a design company forever. So what happened was when I saw John on a TV commercial, which was probably a YouTube commercial, I never even knew that there was a webinar and that you could take advertising and move people from an ad and use a funnel. I didn't know that existed. So we just trusted him. He's very trustworthy on YouTube. And we just trusted him and said, okay, we're going to do this. And honestly, our Inner Circle program, which is what is the outgrowth of John's program, your guys' program, was literally the product of us just sitting down, trusting you guys, following through the process, and starting this thing called Inner Circle. At the beginning, we thought it was just going to be a little extra side thing we would do. It ended up becoming our main source of revenue for our company. And now we are actually going back and having to pay attention to everything else and bring that up to where Inner Circle. So Inner Circle actually was birthed as a result of that, and actually became our leading income. Now we have five places where we derive income: from YouTube, from ads, from stores. But Inner Circle, which is the coaching program, is what really was as a result of John. And it's literally we are the only interior design company anywhere in the world doing what we're doing, and it's all because of you guys. So.
That's amazing. So let me get this right then. So you didn't actually already have the idea of doing a coaching program. You you had a separate business. John, and seeing John on YouTube opened your eyes to the fact it was possible. So then you joined our program, and in that time you started creating this coaching program thinking it was going to be a side hustle, and actually it became so successful it replaced your original income, and now you're realizing that you probably should have focused a bit better, and so you're going back and doing it more.
That's exactly what happened. 100,000%. I remember Lisa and I looked at each other and we said, well, why don't we try it? Let's just see what happens. Let's put an ad together. I mean, we literally did it as I don't know, let's see if it works. I mean, he seems to be pretty happy, and we loved his whole thing about, I just do a new webinar and I just can go on a trip. And one thinking, well, that would be good. Let's just do that as a side hustle, right? We had an audience already established because of Lisa and the YouTube channel. But it's like if you don't know an avenue is available to you, you just don't take it. It's like not having a street sign saying you can go right or left. You only know one way to go. And John really opened our eyes to the opportunity of taking this audience and then monetizing that audience towards webinars, and taking our actual audience through basically a sales funnel that ended up having them become live coaching clients. I mean, our very first time we even put anything out, which was which we had the whole thing that we pulled together with you guys. We had like 70, 80 people like in line, and we can't even do that many people. We had to like push everybody to the back. And anyway,
Yeah.
Lisa, do you want to add anything to that? Because you're really the reason everybody shows
Yes, I
up.
do.
Hey, there it is. The 100K award.
That's it.
That's
And
awesome.
that happened in 2 months.
2 months.
2 months. Actually, 2.5. Excuse me, 2.5 months.
All right,
That's
2.5
right.
months.
It took 2.5 months because literally, like Dana said, we
couldn't handle
opened the
the
doors
volume.
to this, and our audience that we had already
Nurtured.
nurtured just literally leaped on it. And so we had to kind of literally string people out kind of to do it. And so it was a hugely successful venture.
Timing wise, it was about not even a year ago. I mean, you're talking about startup businesses usually take 3 to 5 years to have any kind of profit at all. And, we were in profit mode in our first month.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, you're right. Like so many people are stuck thinking that startup businesses and business, when you start a business, you have to struggle and not make profits for years before you actually reap the rewards. But if you've got a clear framework, well, then it's much easier. So something that's super interesting that I think makes you stand out differently to a lot of other maybe people that would be watching this video on YouTube, for example, or other people who are interested in creating a knowledge-based business, is that you had an audience to begin with. Right. And I think that's super important to remember, because there are so many people out there who currently have an audience but don't know how to make money from that audience. Right. And I think that's so important to know. I wonder if you had any maybe advice for those kind of people that would be watching this of how you can take, well, not how you can, because obviously you kind of mentioned there, like creating that webinar and creating a sales funnel around a knowledge-based business. But like, what was the struggles like at the beginning, trying to work out how to create money from an audience you had, which it wasn't bringing in any revenue?
So COVID hit, we went inside like all of us did, and we created this online business, right? Which was YouTube. And we made money from YouTube ads, and we did very well with that because everybody was in watching TV. We knew that eventually COVID would end at some point, and we wanted to move that audience into another product, which we opened up the Design Club. And we're actually changing, we're actually in the process of rebranding it right now to Design Space. So if you're watching, check out Design Space one day. Design Club was the avenue we knew and we thought of. When we went into John's program, we had no idea. We didn't have any clue about webinars. We knew nothing. And also when we started, we were so busy. We were trying to do this on weekends and after work and trying to pull this together. So it took us a while. So when you said within 2.5 months, I mean, we could have, if this was all we were doing, have this engagement within a month. We could have had those kinds of sales very quickly. And if we had the bandwidth to handle 65, 100, people wanting what we were selling, we would have had that number a lot earlier. Plus, we didn't believe that our product was as valuable as we actually now sell it for. So it took you guys coaching us to make that, Janice was trying to push us to go higher and higher and higher with our pricing. And it's true. It's like there's just been no resistance as we pushed the higher pricing. So
what are you currently charging for your coaching?
We're $3,500 is what we're charging.
Amazing. What did you start at? What did you think it was worth in the beginning?
Well, we started at $24.95, and now we're
amazing.
At $35.95, and we have no resistance at that number. And the funny thing is, we started with 8 sessions over a 2-month period every week. Now we do 6 sessions over a 3-month period, and so we have less sessions and we're making more money with it. So yeah.
One of the things that really was significant to me, Dana, I may be speaking for you as well, was the idea that the way this program was set up for us as people coming into the program to interact with was really amazing, because here we are, we're in California, right? We're opposite a time schedule from you all, but you guys set it up so that if we needed help, there was a system in place for us to get those answers, which I really, really liked. And I really thought that helped us move things forward a little bit quicker, because we had the ability to go, hey, and we could XYZ, and then by next morning we'd have an answer. And I thought that was really commendable.
I'd love for you to kind of touch on a little bit of, did you try, so I mentioned already you had this audience, you had your YouTube audience, and you wanted to generate a revenue from that audience, because at the moment, well, at the time you were just doing AdSense off of YouTube. So people were advertising on your videos and you're making money from that. And so you wanted to monetize your audience. And so was there anything that you had tried before creating a program of sort of ways to monetize an audience? Or was this kind of the first thing you thought, okay, cool, this looks like I should give it a go to monetize my audience, and it seemed to work straight away?
No, the Design Club, which is an online membership club, was the first shot. And we actually spent a fortune building that. I mean, that was that was a year and a lot of capital investment to get that up and running. I mean, relatively speaking, the Inner Circle has been way more profitable when you just look at the raw dollars that we've invested in all that time.
Yes,
for sure.
The membership club was a way to monetize and still reach more, because we have a couple thousand people in that club, which is pretty good considering it didn't exist until, I don't know, a year ago, last September.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we're happy with that. We want to see it grow some more, but that had been the only thing. And what we really loved about this was the fact that, being able to kind of create a coaching program that you control is really important when a good portion of your revenue stream is controlled by another entity. And that's what makes you uncomfortable when you're trying to live off of, say, YouTube or something like that, because they don't, that algorithm is going to change no matter what. And if you're not on it every day, you are going up and down with your revenue stream, and that feels very uncontrolled, right? And so the idea of the club was our first step towards that, and that was fairly good. But the Inner Circle program that we set up, the coaching program that we set up, was a laydown, and we controlled it.
Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense. Having control over that, and especially sounds like the time investment that it took for you to even get that control and get that profit and the energy as well. It sounds like kind of a no-brainer situation when it comes to it.
Pete, if we were to add up the dollars and time that we spent developing Design Club, now ultimately we see Design Club for our future being sort of the retirement. It's like the retirement property. I mean, because that's something we can build over years and years and years, because there's no limit to numbers of members that we can put in. But the reality is, if you just look at dollar for dollar, investment for investment, time spent for time spent, I mean, the coaching program was far and away the biggest thing that we did. It literally took over our business plan, and it became the top of the heap. It was YouTube, and then that took over the YouTube revenue and everything.
That's leads me to a good point. So when you did start running with it, okay, you doubled down. You thought, okay, cool, I need to create an online program. This is what John says to do. AdClients are telling me this is how to work. So in that process, in that beginning stages, obviously you said in like 2 months, it took you were able to make that 100K award, which is absolutely phenomenal. But in that time, were there any hurdles or were there any struggles that you felt like you had to jump over, more just in your business, or you had to change the way you were thinking about something? Or it's more for someone watching this video who's maybe struggling with creating a coaching business as well. What kind of advice can you give them? What can you kind of push them in the right direction, if that makes sense?
It's changing the way you're thinking and not getting stuck in seeing what you do as only one way to do it, that there's multiple ways to get to to what you need. And sometimes I mean, regardless of what your business is, sometimes it could be that you sell X, Y, and Z, but you have a coaching program that does this, and you have a number of vehicles that allow people to find you, and you give them more options. I mean, the reality is interior design, which is really our business, has never been available to people in the way we do it with how we do it with John, where we're literally walking people through designing their homes for them.
You know, I've been an interior designer for longer than I'm going to admit on camera. And I've done a lot of work. Okay. But the reality of it is, I realized when we started YouTube that there were so many people out there hungry for the information that I took for granted. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, who may be experts in their field. Because I remember thinking, people want to know about this? Why do people really want to know about this? They do want to know about this. If you're an expert at it, the only thing you have to do is learn how to communicate a little clearer and explain the why of whatever it is you're an expert at. Okay. Because if you can do that, there are people that want to know that. And that's where the money comes in, because you can begin to share that information. And by doing that, you raise the boat, you raise the tide, you empower people, they learn more, and you generate revenue from it. So It's an amazing thing. It was an amazing hurdle I went over, which was when I realized that this stuff just rattling around in my head that I know about, structure and sofas and all this silly stuff that, I have to deal with every day as a designer. It's kind of like, people actually want to know about that.
You're like, I don't know why people would want to know this. Well, I know why people would want to know this. The shift is, can you deliver a designer experience to a client who lives in London from here online in a coaching program? And the answer is you can. And we do
absolutely
now.
Right.
And nobody knows how to do that. It's like, you almost don't want to tell anybody, because I can tell you in 10 years, this is how most people's homes will be designed.
I think you've hit on something so important there, which is actually, when people have knowledge, the biggest thing is the mindset shift. The biggest thing is actually believing, whether it's even firstly, people want to buy your stuff, and then exactly what you said, Lisa, and then secondly, that it's possible to even give them that knowledge. How is it looking right now? How's your business looking now? And kind of like, what are the hurdles that you're jumping over right now? And what is the revenue that you've generated since being able to get this machine in place?
So we have gone through this process and discovered another way to do exactly what we're doing to a larger audience and be able to give the same level of experience and open it up to even more people. So that's kind of the next horizon.
The next level, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're heading to next. So we're actually in the middle of retooling to talk about that. So, but that's I think natural growth. So what we had to do is really kind of go through this process, and now we've had a year of running the program the way we've run it, and now we've looked at each other and gone, oh, let's do this. So now we're kind of like amping up the ante to sort of go, how can we grow this, right? How can we expand this? And that, that has a couple of its own hurdles, but, we're also rebranding at the same time. So there's a little bit of that going on.
What the reality is, when you have something that's good and you're giving of yourself, that you don't need to sell that. You just have to share people that exists, and that they have a problem, and that you can solve that problem for them.
Absolutely.
This is something I learned from John, 100%. And recently, really, they don't care how they get there. They don't care what the mechanism is. Nope. I never, ever, guys,
that's true.
Important. I never sell how we do it, ever. They don't even care. I sell the experience of us partnering with them and them having the result that we're solving the problem for them. That's how we sell the program. And no, it shocks me that people spend a lot of money and they just throw the credit card down because they want the result that solves their problem. They don't care how they get there.
Absolutely. It's the
Yes.
classic, no one's actually buying the drill. They're buying the hole that the drill makes.
That's right. And
Right.
they
There you go.
believes that drill makes it. And in my case, that my nails won't get broken trying
Yeah.
to do the thing, right?
They
That's
don't
Right,
care.
right,
They don't care
exactly.
they don't care how much the drill is. They don't care what color it is or how fancy or how fast it can go. They just want the hole. They just want that hole in the wall.
They want the
and
hole.
they'll
They
buy what they
want
need
that
to get
hole.
there.
That's
It's
right. That's
possible.
right.
And that
That's
they
right.
know that you can do it. They trust that you're the one that can help them do that. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And that's
And I want to say something about that too, which is when that sunk in for me was when we were working with you guys to finalize the webinar and your coaching was so good and we kept throwing different iterations at you, right? And finally, one of you guys on the team said, you know, this, you've got it there. This is it. You do not need to go any further because you've now stopped selling the drill. And you've you're in your speech, you're talking about how this is going to feel to have it done. And that was it. And literally, I remember there's a point where in one of the lessons, John says something like, if you can get this through your head, it will change every interaction you have for the rest of your business life. And I literally think about that probably every day because I go, what do they really need here? They need that answer. And that's another thing I want to say to anybody out there who's like an expert and is still wondering whether or not people want to know this. Let me tell you, I don't want an expert tax accounting telling me what he's going to do to get where he's going to go. I just want to know that he's going to give me a return. And it's really true because people who when you're an expert, you're inside the box, okay? And you don't realize that the people outside the box while
really
it's
care.
admirable that you know all of this, those are the details, okay? Yeah, they just need the problem solved. And if you can be that person, not a problem.
Well, with that, guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're so busy. I know you've got a busy morning ahead of you, seeing as you've got all your clients to deal with. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been super nice to hear about your journey, and I really appreciate the nice things you said. I didn't expect you to. I just wanted to hear about how you guys are doing, but it fires me up, fires the team up, and we're just excited to carry on working with you and get you to that 7-figure award and even beyond, which will be absolutely phenomenal. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.
okay. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. You too.
You have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.
You too.